We have live team coverage as the state of Maryland prepares for Sandy's arrival. Ava Marie is live in Ocean City. Kim Dacey is live in Annapolis. Tim Tootin is live in Baltimore City.
Let's talk about what's happening here in Ocean City. Boy, are we drenched, and the wind is really starting to pick up. And look at those waves. And you know, the pictures here on the video just don't do it justice. It is an incredible sight as we sit here staring at these waves. They are just getting bigger, easily up to 15 feet, at least 100 feet from shore. And they continue to pan the shoreline as well. And notice how it's starting to erode the dune here on 32nd Street and allowing the water to come all the way down into our hotel. And it's creating almost like a river. We're kind of like in a moat right now, surrounded by that. And it's continuing to flow all the way towards these beachfront homes. So unfortunately, they're starting to see some flooding as well. That water is easily starting to pour all the way into this property. And unfortunately, this is the time that we're seeing the worst coastal flooding. We just passed high tide. It's going to start to come down as we go into the next couple of hours. But we have another high tide this evening that we also have to worry about. Not only that, but the roads in Ocean City are starting to flood as well from both the rain as well as some of this water making its way inland. So the Ocean City police would like to urge people not to go outdoors.
Well, as the weather does pick up here in Baltimore, it is much the same down the Beltway in the nation's capital.
We now go to 11 News Washington Bureau reporter Hallie Jackson with an update on conditions down in D.C. Hallie.
I'm Hallie Jackson in Washington, where President Obama has signed an emergency declaration for the District of Columbia, along with 7 states up the eastern seaboard from Maryland to Massachusetts and as far west as Pennsylvania. Government offices here in the district have been closed to the public today, and most federal employees will not be reporting to work. That does not include emergency personnel, of course, and they're probably going to have their hands full. The president has promised governors and mayors he will work to cut through red tape to make sure people get the help they need after this superstorm Sandy strikes.
You can track Hurricane Sandy's movements on our interactive radar, see the satellite images, plus follow storm updates on Live Wire. Find it all on WBILTV.com and our mobile app.
I'm on Kent Island right now, John, and let me tell you something. Compared to yesterday, ferocious comes to mind in terms of wind. Now, the local forecasts are telling us it's wind sustaining at 34 miles per hour. I heard you mention around 40 gusts. It feels a lot more. This is the kind of rain, as you look at the flags over there, look how much they're whipping in the wind. This is the kind of rain that stings your face when you walk in it. Now, the good news is, if there is any This is a temporary reprieve, I'm told, by locals because they've been through a lot of this before, maybe not to this extent, but many storms before. They're saying that the wind is coming from the north, and that is pushing the water here out. That's the good news, because as you can see, it doesn't look like it's flooded right here, right now, and the boats don't look that animated at the moment. Now, the bad news is, I'm told by the locals, as the storm pushes up the coast, the wind direction is going to change, and a surge will be headed toward the buildings here. Now, to that extent, Queen Anne's County does have some assets in place, and excuse me, I mean, I'm not making this up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my balance. They have some assets in place. They've called in the Maryland National Guard. They have a 5-ton personnel carrier standing by at Kent Island High School. It can carry as many as 44 people who may be stranded. It can maneuver through 3 feet of water. They also have a Humvee stationed in Centerville, and sometime this morning they're supposed to get a 6-man crew swift water rescue team. Now, the situation here has deteriorated significantly since yesterday, and I'm told by folks who live around here and of course listening to our weather forecast that it's going to get a lot worse as the day wears on. Reporting live from Kent Island, David Collins, WBIL TV 11 News.
Oh, it's just terrible where he is.
You're watching WBAL TV 11. Live, local, late breaking. This is 11 News at noon.
Good afternoon and welcome to 11 News at noon. I'm Sarah Caldwell.
And I'm Deborah Weiner. We want to go right to Baltimore City, where Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake is briefing everyone. Let's go to the mayor.
Personnel will be closed. Trash pickup will be postponed, so please do not put out any trash this evening. I know that probably seems like common sense, but it needs to be said. Please don't put out your trash this evening. If we have sustained wind speed this evening that warrant mandatory travel restrictions on city roadways, we will not hesitate to make that announcement, and motorists should stay tuned for those updates. Again, if we have sustained winds this evening that warrant mandatory travel restrictions on city roadways, we will not hesitate to make that announcement.
Perfect time to bring in Rob Gould from BGE. You saw those winds whipping there, and that's exactly what causes those power lines to go down.
Yeah, and combined with the wet ground as well, because that only serves to make those trees that don't bend ordinarily like they're going to be bending come down on top of the lines.
Wow, what's the latest on power outages at this time?
So we're looking at about 5,800 outages. That's not bad at all, but I would not get comfortable with that because they're only going to climb. There's no question.
Lisa Robinson is at Reisterstown at MEMA headquarters, and let's see who she's going to talk to next. Lisa?
John, I'm with the Acting Transportation Secretary for the Maryland Department of Transportation, Darrell Mobley, and he's got some announcements to make regarding the bridges around the state. What's the situation at this hour?
The situation is that the conditions continue to deteriorate. If you are traveling on our roadways and you need to cross the Bay Bridge, the Nice Bridge, the Hayden Bridge, the Key Bridge, we are currently under wind restrictions. With the Bay Bridge, we anticipate wind gusts getting up to 55 miles per hour, which would necessitate closing the bridge.
Well, I know Lowell's satellite shot's been going in and out, but we do want to try to get to him again in Ocean City. Lowell, you there?
I am here, and I wanted to move off the deck to show you how strong the winds are actually blowing down here on the ground level. Mac, you okay? I want to show you how fast these winds are blowing down here. We're seeing wind gusts in between the buildings of about 55 to 60 miles per hour here that I measured on the anemometer. Also wanted to show you some of the flooding that we're seeing down here right now. Again, between 32nd and 31st Streets here in Ocean City. You can see some of the flooding that's getting into these homes here. Basically, once in a while, you'll see a wave break over the dunes that are behind me here, come over, and the water will settle in. We're also seeing water settling in on Coastal Highway as well. Some updates. We understand, according to Ocean City emergency officials here, that the Coastal Highway is now closed down from 62nd Street all the way south. So if you're coming into the city on the Route 90 bridge, you cannot go south. You can only go north. We also know from Delmarva Power officials, I'm sorry, hold on. I also know from Delmarva Power officials that you can see how strong these winds are right now. Again, these gusts are about 60 miles per hour. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. I want to get this in. The Delmarva Power officials telling us that they're shutting off power as a safety precaution from 1st Street south into the inlet and 11th Street south on the ocean side. We got to get out of this because these gusts are very strong.
This, of course, is a Monday. It's lunchtime. This would ordinarily, the Inner Harbor would ordinarily be full of people having lunch. Today, absolutely nobody. I'm not even sure any of these places are open. It looks like the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company's got their chairs up on the table there. The other thing that you can really get a sense of down here is how the wind is picking up. Even in the Baltimore metropolitan area, we've been spending an awful lot of time on the coast with the effect of this storm. But now you can really start to feel the gusting winds. It'll kind of knock you over a little bit when it really gets going, and how it kind of sweeps the rain across the promenade here at the Inner Harbor. You know, I may have a term for this. I know that I've covered many times hurricane-type weather, and I've also covered blizzards. And I know there's a blizzard warning or a big snow warning in Western Maryland. The one thing, the really unique feature about this day is the temperature. It's not warm. Ordinarily, when we're covering hurricanes, the temperature's 70, 75, 78 degrees. The water's warm. That is not the case today. It is downright chilly. And with what's about to happen in Western Maryland, I think we ought to come up with a new term called blizzicane. That's the combination of the hurricane here and the blizzard about to come with the rest of this storm as it goes west.
Dave Collins, he's joining us live from Kent County. He's in Kent Island with the very latest there, and we see the winds are whipping. Hi there, David.
Hi there. I just got off the phone with the Director of Emergency Services for Queen Anne's County. His name is Kevin Aftung, and he's telling me that emergency crews are right now getting into place to close the Bay Bridge. They're going to block the bridge off on both sides. He says that the wind gusts have reached 75 miles per hour on the bridge, and sustained wind is 54 to 55 miles per hour on the Bay Bridge. So an official announcement should come shortly that the Bay Bridge will be closed, and crews are now getting into position to make sure no one's on the bridge and no one can get on it after they close it, of course, until further notice.
The storm has also accelerated its forward motion. This morning and about noon or so, it was only doing about 14, 15 miles an hour forward motion toward the coast. It's now up to 28 miles an hour forward motion. That's hardly breaking the speed limit, but it's doubled its speed. So it's going to hit the coast sooner. We're estimating about 6 o'clock this evening. So that would be a little sooner than the estimates have been before.
We do have some video that is just in from Ocean City of some of the damage there, and you can see that's obviously the boardwalk and the stuff that is just washed up, blown over. Just not happy along Ocean City. And I know that Lowell was trying to say something just a few minutes ago about Bayside, and I think what he was saying is what I've been getting in on Twitter, which from Jordan says Bayside is completely flooded. The Fagers Island gazebo was washed away.
Oh my goodness.
So evidently on Bayside things are pretty serious there.
Lowell Melzer in Ocean City for the very latest. Lowell, how are things going there? Oh, yep, this was
difficult shot, so let's just hang in there with it and see. Okay.
Wow.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Wind gusts of about miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. We're getting out here in Ocean City at this point, seeing the worst of the storm right now. This is the worst we've seen it. I'm going to try and get Mac Finney to pan over here, Mac. I don't know if they, without the rain getting in the way. The Bayside right now is completely washed.
Wow. In the thick of it there, Lowell, doing really yeoman's work for us, for sure.
Yeah, I know. Let's just hang with it just a little while longer because I think we may get him back. Let's just see if we don't get that shot back.
Are you guys?
Yeah, we're still here, Lowell. We're still here.
Take it away, Lowell. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, right now we're getting no signal from him, but let's see. Just wait just for another second. Wow. Nothing? Still nothing
there?
Yeah, he's still there.
We hear you.
Can we go back to him? Please, thank you.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. All right, this is the bottom line. It's really bad out here. Don't go out.
Oh my gosh.
Dangerous. We gotta go back. We should go back.
Yeah, he needs to take cover.
Right now, I want to talk to Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown about what he's hearing about what's going on. So what you guys are monitoring everything around the state.
And we know that certainly in Somerset and Crisfield that there have been a number of calls for emergency service to help evacuate some of the folks in low-lying areas where they're experiencing a tremendous amount of flooding. So we've got the National Guard down there. We have swift water crews down there that have come in from out of state, making sure that we're being as responsive as possible. In parts of Ocean City, we've certainly asked for voluntary evacuations, but right now, the best place to continue to be is to stay indoors.
Conditions are continuing to go downhill all along the coastline right now, with waters getting higher by the minute in Ocean City. This is a view from Talbot Street, looking down from Philadelphia Avenue there. Look at that. It's like a river. It is. It shows how bad things over there are getting as the rain continues to fall.
And at the Route 50 bridge, our viewers really throwing themselves out into the elements. A lot of Lowell wannabes out there.
Cold.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, and take a look at the boardwalk. It really got quite pounded by the storm all day long. This is around 3rd Street in Ocean City.
And of course here in our area too, we just saw a tweet that Falls Road in North Baltimore is like a river.
Hurricane Sandy is actually picking up not only strength as she approaches landfall, but also picking up speed. So the bad news is that the storm is becoming stronger in her center with 90-mile-an-hour winds. The good news is that she's moving faster. Will reach landfall, I think, between the current estimates are between 8 and 10 p.m. And the hope would be that she continues to move fast and moves on from Maryland and passes over without stopping and hanging out and beating on us for 24 or 36 hours. We currently have 75,000 outages in Maryland, and that number will climb.
And you can see the offshore clouds and the big swirl. If it wasn't such a nasty storm and such a big problem, you could just flat out say it's gorgeous, because it is, meteorologically speaking, an amazing storm system coming together. And it really hasn't transitioned fully from tropical to extratropical. We've been talking about this all week long, that this was going to be a super storm because it's going from a hurricane to more of a nor'easter type. It's holding on to a lot of that tropical characteristics. Even this evening, it looks like, although it's starting to lose its wraparound convection, the higher clouds out here have been kind of diminished a little bit as it moves inland, but still a powerful storm.
And here's a look at some of those power problems in Bel Air in Harford County. The number of BGE customers without power there right now is above 6,500. Statewide, there are more than 75,000 people now without power. And of course, BGE is still working as they can to restore power as it goes out, but it's not always possible. Utility officials say more than 3,000 workers will be available in the coming days, and they are here from out of state, ready to help restore the power.
I want to check on conditions right now in Ocean City, where things are much worse than they were just a little while ago. 11 News meteorologist Ava Marie is there now. And Ava, what is it like? And we can see how hard the wind is blowing behind you.
Yes, you know, the conditions are really worsening here just outside the hotel. I think mainly because the winds are funneling through the building. That's what we call the Bernoulli effect. As the winds start to compress through the buildings, it strengthens and increases. So I had my photographer Joe go out into the midst of the street. That's where the worst of the winds are right now, and he did measure wind gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. So thank you, Joe, for doing that for me. I just want to talk about all the different ways that we're surviving the storm. As much as we are suffering out here, you have to remember that our equipment is suffering as well. So check out my little IFB. This is what we've got going here. This is how I hear you guys back at the station. This cord is connected to this right here. We've got it in a little plastic bag, taped on shut. There's basically a paper towel wrapped around it as well. So this is what we're doing to try to keep our equipment safe. The mic, it has plastic wrapped around it and tape as well. So we're doing everything we can to keep the equipment functioning so that we can keep delivering you all these incredible images through this storm. And I am basically on my second outfit for the day. I had a change earlier on because I've been reporting since 4 this morning, and these windproof pants are doing their best to keep out the rain, but honestly, when it's just driving this hard, even when something says it's waterproof, it doesn't really mean it is hurricane proof. Interesting conditions here. As you can see, the winds are really picking up to the west. Fortunately, we have the overhang of the parking garage right here, so I'm able to come back in. Watch me. As I walk right back in, the winds basically shut right on down, so it's easy to step right out of those conditions. This is why they're telling people not to get out and about, because it's very easy for these winds to funnel in through the buildings. We've seen a lot of flooding here in Ocean City, which is basically why they've shut down the city at this point. You're unable to get in and out of it. They shut down 90, they shut down 50, and they're just telling residents, if you stayed in Ocean City, just stay in your homes. Please be safe.
To find out what's happening now with conditions in Baltimore City, we're going to check in with our colleague Kai Reed. She's in North Baltimore. Kai, where are you and what's going on?
Well, I've actually been standing here, you guys, trying to come up with a word to describe how bad this wind is. That's just kind of picked up in the past 5-10 minutes or so, and I came up with wicked. This is wicked wind that has moved in. It's really, really bad. We're actually standing in the station parking lot here on TV Hill, which is actually a really good place to see how much this wind is whipping around. We have these beautiful trees around our station, around our parking lot, and a gust has just gone through. But as these gusts come through, I mean, these trees are just whipping around, and we're even seeing some that are looking dangerously close to wanting to topple over.
Right now, we're going to go back to Ocean City and meteorologist Ava Marie in Worcester County. And Ava, how's it going out there? I know it's insane.
Oh my goodness, yes, the winds are really whipping around our hotel building right now. As you go further out there into the street, the winds, we recorded up to 60 miles per hour. I have my little handheld anemometer here, and I sent my photographer, Joe, who is much bigger than me, to go out there to measure the wind. So thank you, Joe, for doing that. I posted a picture on my Twitter and Facebook page. Right here where I'm standing, I'm measuring wind gusts of at least 45 miles per hour. So to make everyone happy, I know people are worried about me, I have a little bit of a sandbag on my foot, so it's easily holding me down. So don't worry about me, guys. We're right next to the parking shelter, so we're able to run inside to get to shelter very quickly. So I feel very safe at where I am right now, but I just really want to give you an idea of just how strong these winds are.
Things are gradually worse. Where they weren't too bad earlier, they're getting really much worse than they were. And our crews are, we're very grateful for them to be out there.
Yeah, I suspect that is true as well for Rob Roblin. He is in Middle River in Baltimore County, another area that is typically a problem spot, Robbie.
Well, it is, and the wind's really kicking up now. It's died down just a little bit, but you get some very strong wind gusts that are coming through, like one starting to come through here in a few minutes. You can actually hear them starting to come, and you can hear the rain just getting stronger, and the winds just keep kicking up stronger and stronger as the evening goes on. And so far, I mean, this morning it wasn't that bad here. You get a little wind gust, no big deal, but as the day went on, gradually the winds got stronger and stronger, and it is nasty out here. This is cold. It's a cold rain. It's a cold hurricane. Never heard of anything like that before, but I think John Collins and Tom Tasselmeyer are talking about that. You don't very often see a hurricane and a blizzard all mixed up into one, but it is amazing weather.
State officials say one person has died in a storm-related crash in Montgomery County. The state health secretary said that the medical examiner has confirmed that the crash is related to the effects of Hurricane Sandy. Secretary Sharfstein says the person was killed after a car skidded on a wet road.
I'm working on getting more information from Delmarva and as well as Ocean City Emergency Management to find out where exactly those outages are, and we'll have that for you. There's the wind in my next update. Also, just a reminder to folks, and they've been doing a good job about it. We showed you out on Coastal Highway. Whoa! Mac, you all right? Holy cow. All right, that's the reason why you're not. There it goes. All right, we'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Sheldon, tell us where you are.
Well, Deb, I'm at the city's Emergency Operations Center on Calvert Street, and this is where the mayor and the police department, fire department, and folks from the traffic department are getting a briefing right now, right behind me in that screen over there, on what's happening all over the city. We did catch up with the mayor a little bit earlier, and this is what she had to say about heading into the night. All right, Madam Mayor, what's the plan for the city heading into the evening?
We have our police officers pre-positioned. We have our fire officers, fire departments fully staffed. We are ready to respond to any emergency, but we always have safety first. We don't want our transportation workers, DPW workers, to get out there responding to 311 calls and getting hurt. So we are taking that into account.
All right, and what should people at home consider in the overnight hours heading into tomorrow?
Just make sure you don't use candles to keep light on. If you don't have flashlights, either come to one of the shelters or get to someone's house who does have flashlights. We just want people to be safe.
I did talk with Annapolis city officials. They say to us that they believe that the impact of the storm will hit this area anywhere between now and noon tomorrow. So, of course, they are still monitoring and trying to determine exactly what they need to do because of that. They are very concerned about the Annapolis Dam on Route 450 because they say that the water levels are rising there. That's because of the bands of rain that keep coming through the area. They tell us that the water level right now is at 24 feet, and that means that they have to notify the state.
The power outage count right now, 191,000, could be 192,000 here if things don't get better here at MEMA. And we learned that according to a Baltimore City Police Twitter, all Maryland public schools shut down tomorrow. That is from the office of the governor. Governor O'Malley saying if a school district is not called in yet to shut down schools, he is declaring that all Maryland public schools close tomorrow. That's the latest from MEMA. Reporting live, Jen Franciotti, back to you guys.
We're in West Baltimore right now, where we just came upon this amazing scene here at Edmondson Avenue and North Carey Street, a house that has collapsed into to rubble. Baltimore's fire officials have not been able to tell us a lot of details about it except to say that this was an abandoned home. Nobody was inside, and it did collapse because of the weather. They also told us that this isn't the only situation like this in Baltimore City. They said other abandoned homes have come down in this weather.
In our way.
Right now we go to Governor Martin O'Malley live at MEMA headquarters with his update.
The storm is going to be cutting the eye of the storm right across the upper Chesapeake Bay, across Cecil and Harford County, and that's where we already have almost half of our citizens out of power, and it's only 9:30. So this is going to be a long night. When talking with one of the members of the media, I feel like we're only now just kind of beginning the rough part of this storm. These next 12 hours will likely be the most intense.
Right now, we're going to check in with 11 News reporter Kai Reed. She's been in and around Baltimore City primarily. Here's her latest report.
Yeah, we're standing here in Mount Washington where you can see that raging Jones Falls moving very high and very quickly here behind me. Smith Avenue to the left is closed and has been closed to traffic for some time. This is an area where people have been dealing with power outages from earlier this afternoon, from I guess about 1 o'clock, since 1 o'clock this afternoon. And really BGE is asking people to report down power lines, report trees down in the road, but know that they are not going to put their crews in harm's way. At this point, they want people to just hunker down, never use generators inside, flashlights over candles, and really just try your best to wait out this storm.
This is Buckingham and Wynwood Roads in Locker in Baltimore County, right near where I grew up. And
wow, look at that.
If you recall, those are flood zones, and I think I'm correct in saying that this area was really hit hard with Hurricane Agnes. And so I know they changed some of the flooding area there, and but that is Buckingham and Wynwood. So that is between Liberty Road and I'm trying to think, it's sort of the Bedford area there.
That is pretty crazy looking.
Yeah, they always take it real hard there.
This is what the flooding situation looks like in New York City. There is massive flooding in lower Manhattan. Reports of several feet of water on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, which is going to be closed again tomorrow. And who knows, with flooding, it could be closed more days this week. Several feet of water in a number of subway stations downtown. Utilities on parts of Manhattan, of course, down in lower Manhattan, the power was cut to lower Manhattan, so they do not have power. And you can see something down there. It looks like maybe it's arcing something, but parts of the financial district underwater. So it is a very, very tough situation in New York City.
Here's the swirling mass of rain and western Maryland snow and West Virginia snow gradually pulls out of the region as we head through tomorrow afternoon. Just some showers lingering. Wednesday morning, maybe a shower, but then some breaks in the clouds as the snow continues in the mountains. And finally, by Wednesday night into Thursday, we'll start to see that storm well to our north. The winds will ease off and we'll start to get into a clearing pattern going into Thursday and the end of the week. So 40s tonight, the winds still gusting over 60 overnight, and we're going to get additional rain. Then tomorrow, the temperatures hold steady. Don't be surprised if you see a snowflake or two up in Carroll and Frederick counties. And then finally, temperatures will start to level off in the 50s, lows in the 30s as sunshine returns Thursday into the upcoming weekend. But I don't want everybody to think that the storm is done yet because there's more rain, wind, and those tides. I'm a little worried about those tides tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, when she does leave, we'll say good riddance, Sandy.
Yes, we will.
Without any question. Right.
Well, thanks you all for joining us throughout the day. And 11 News, of course, will continue to monitor everything. And we're going to be back here tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. Well, not us. No.
There'll be another crew here.
Stan, Mindy, Tony, and Sarah are going to be here.
Thank you for joining us, and have a safe overnight.
Good night, everybody.